Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with my good friend, Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing well, but I got to tell you, we got a lot of data today on mortgages that I cover. I would love to hear what's going on the last 2 weeks. So first and foremost, we got a CPI report that came out at 5.4%, second month in a row, over 5%. Actually, third month in a row over 5%, second month in a row at 5.4. I saw this morning that mortgage apps for refis and purchases were up week on week, down year on year, but up week on week. Right. And oh, by the way, FHA buyers are up 3.3%. They have a fighting chance. I believe the housing slowdown is real, more inventory, less buyers, meaning options. And yes, I think the FHA buyers are at least getting a fighting chance now. So what do you see going on?
Yeah, it's funny that you highlight the FHA thing, because on my morning dose of Barry Habib this morning, I heard something about that 3.5% increase or 3.3% increase on FHA applications. And if you know mortgage, and if you know lending, and if you've been talking about it like we have, you realize what that means.
Yes.
Because March and April of 2021, FHA basically was non-existent because you could not get an offer accepted.
No.
So when you see, so when you see mortgage applications go up with FHA, what that means is the market has softened to the point that these loans are being applied for because you can use them and purchase a house.
Exactly.
Like, that's exactly what that means.
For me, and again, I'm going to say this, but correct me if I'm wrong. When I think of the FHA buyer, I think first-time home buyer. That's what I think.
Right. It's a majority first-time home buyer. And I'm not trying to peg an FHA buyer, but in general, they're putting less down.
Yeah.
Their credit is not perfect, and sellers know that. So in a market where there's 20 offers, you look through cash, conventional, FHA, and they get ranked. I'm sorry, it's just the truth, right? And we saw it, and agents talked about it, lenders talked about it. We said, listen, if I talk to a buyer that had a 660 credit score, conventional might not even look as good as an FHA loan, but you qualify for both. If you want to get an offer accepted, you're just going to have to do conventional and offer that way. And so as the market softens a little bit and we realize it's not cheaper, but it's easier, you might be able to get an FHA offer.
Say that again. Cheaper, not cheaper, but
it's easier. Not cheaper, but it's easier. And that's something too. Here's something for people to think about, because I've been thinking about a lot through just the conversations I've had. People will see whatever they want to make out of data, or whatever they want to make out of things they're seeing. They'll see a price reduction and they'll go, look, there was more price reductions in my neighborhood than ever before. I'm just going to tell people my thoughts. Here's what happens. Home prices, and let's just start at 500,000. Month over month, we're seeing a ton of increase, and it goes 500, 510, 520, 530. An agent or a seller or a combination of both that doesn't understand that March and April and July and August are not the same market-wise, puts that next peg up like the market's still going like that. So they put it up at 570, thinking to themselves, well, look, neighbor sold, that one sold, that one sold. Here's the trajectory. Well, the market has flattened. So now you have to reduce that price to more accurately reflect what people are paying, because they're not continuing to pay, 1 or 2% more every single month. So it's a price reduction, but it's a price reduction to the same price that it was a month ago. And, you're going to get 3 offers or 5 offers instead of 15. It's going to sell for 562 instead of the 560 it sold for last month or the month before. So it's not cheaper. It's easier. It's less competition. And you saw a price reduction, but it's a reduction from a price that was too high to begin with. And so that's where you got to watch out as an investor and as a buyer. Don't expect a bunch of 20% off price tags to start going on houses. It's just not happening.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling folks. I've been screaming housing slowdown, but not housing crash, right? And again, it's just that sellers who have one time to look at it have been hearing from everybody and their brother that housing is hot. So of course they look at the chart. Last one sold 520. My house is special. Mine is unique. It's special. 550. No, it's 520 or 510. Yeah, right. But you're going to put it at 550. It's going to sit for 2 weeks. You're going to have nobody show up at the open house except your neighbors. Then you're going to have a price drop to 520. Folks, it's easier, not cheaper. And again, as we've talked about, the mortgage rates and it's frankly, it's affordable still, right? As long as rates are where they are, it's affordable. And it might be high prices, but it is affordable.
Right. Yeah. And so that was a cool little piece of data to look at and go, oh, FHA, it's back. It's a good sign for buyers. It's a good sign for the market. It means that we've moved past the state of frenzy, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
February, March, April, frenzy buyers.
What I said is crazy left the building. That's what I've been saying. Crazy left the building. And again, what it means when FHA is growing is folks, it could still be a seller's market. It's just not like this, right? It's more like that. So we're heading back to a balanced market, not a crash. Folks, if you're looking to refi and save some money, lower your terms, get some cash out, you're in California, or buy, you need to reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. How do you want them to do that?
Matt at mattthemortgageguy.com. If you're in California, tons of one rental at a time folks have reached out. Some, it sounds like a great idea, let's do it. Others, I'm like, man, you got a 3%, leave that thing alone.
Yeah, you're done. You're good.
But it certainly does not hurt to reach out. So feel free to reach out. We're happy to help, because like you said, there's multiple different things you can do. It could be a rate and term. It could be a shorten the term. It can be a take cash out. An interesting stat on that I saw recently was, I think the Sacramento Bee ran an article about how people are more house rich than they've ever been. They got more equity than they've ever had, which obviously house prices go up, you have more equity.
Yep.
But the 70% of national consumer debt is the mortgage, and then 30% is other consumer debt. Mm-hmm. The average loan to value on a mortgage versus what the house is worth is 40%.
Wow, 40?
You're right, 40.
Wow.
So here's something cool to think about, Mike. If that means 40% loan to value, if you've got a home worth 500,000, you owe 200,000. Mm-hmm. And here's a little math thing I did in my head the other day. If we know that nationwide, 70% of your debt is the house and 30% is other consumer debt, rest assured the consumer debt, 6%, 8%, credit card debt, 15% is much worse debt.
No question. You've
got all this equity in your house. And if you're 70-30, I think when I did the math, that meant that like you've got 200,000 in a mortgage and maybe 90,000 in consumer debt. You do a cash out refinance to pay off all that other debt. You're still in a cush position with a 60% loan to value loan. And oh, by the way, 60% is the magic number for the best mortgage rates.
Yeah. You
can do a cash out refinance if you've got good credit at a 60% loan to value under 3%. Take all that debt, wrap it in. And, I'm not telling you to go leverage your house to 90%. I'm talking about 60, right? Yeah. And all your consumer debt is paid off. That's probably $1,400 in payments or whatever it is at 90,000.
Yeah.
If your goal is to get it paid off, great. Take that $1,400 that you used to spend on credit card debt, throw it at your mortgage and pay your mortgage off in 8 years. Exactly. Wow. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with how low mortgage rates are. People are taking advantage of this. Yeah. Don't be the person that looks back 7 years from now, like, if I made a tweak and I paid off consumer debt, or I did a new mortgage and restructured it, I would be $86,000 ahead of where I am now, because people are taking action and that kind of magic is happening, and other people are just sitting on their hands.
That's crazy. Well, folks, if you're in California, if you're paid PMI, if you bought less than or more than a year ago, you have lots of choices. Do yourself a favor, reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. My students have been reaching out to him and they all rave about him and his team. So one more time, what's the email?
Matt at mattthemortgageguy.com. And a lot of folks are trying to get in touch out of state because so many are. I just set up the website, greatmortgagebroker.com. If you fill that form out, if you fill it out and you say California, it's going to come to me. If you fill it out and you say outside of California, we're going to refer you to somebody who's licensed in that state. And I continue to, hold that person accountable, where you better take care of my people and my reputation, because there was a little bit of, of a process to set that up, where it's like, we missed one, we missed two. And those who have reached out know that I'll follow up and I'll make sure that you get taken care of.
Cool. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for your time. It's been a great series of 3 videos. Thanks, buddy.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Mm-hmm.